One tin soldier rides away.
Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, around the world. This is a Marines Disquisition, heard live on Wind Talkers Radio Network and on the courtesy of Blog Talk Internet International Radio. We're here 5 by 5 around the world, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you all to know that we've got phone bridges out there changing phone numbers left and right. We will have a new change on the phone bridge within the next couple of days. Sweden, you will be changing a new phone number tomorrow. Australia, you will have a new phone number on Monday. The USA, you will have a new phone number between now and next on the 12th. I don't know what day. It's going to be definitely changed on the 12th. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a lot of little problems out there around the world, a lot of lies going on. But I want to let you know that some of these lies out there and all these little secrets are coming to roost slowly but surely. Just before we went on the air, while we were doing testing of the audio, I got a blip from Bobby down in Australia. She wants to know about the Chief Executive Officer of Countrywide being charged with criminal fraud by the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission. Well, it just so happens that the man that would have the information on that and the full scoop, because he's been calling them a bunch of liars for the last 40 years, and he's had to expatriate himself outside the United States for the fear that they were coming after him. And his name is Bob Chapman. He is the most sought-after financial advisor on all of the networks. And yes, there's other people out there giving information, but you're not going to get it as good as the man that's on this show today, and he's heard over 30 shows during the week. And on my website, the 3 W's, AMD.EL Equity, that's Alpha, Mary, Delta, Dot, Echo, Lima, Echo, Quasar, Ulysses, India, Tango, Yankee.com. Pull it up. There's 7 links there to take you out to radio shows with the time listed of other networks. We're proud to put those there because some of the Wind Talker stations around the world pick up Bob Chapman throughout the week to get the latest updates when he's on the air. So some of you Marines out there don't miss the heads up. And all of you girls out there in Southern California and Washington, welcome to the show. God bless you for listening and staying tuned and bringing your infinite wisdom of finances to the table because last week Mr. Chapman was awed by what the questions you brought forth, and I'm proud to bring Mr. Chapman back on today to tax your brain. Welcome to the show, Mr. Chapman.
Well, it's nice to be back. It's been a whole week.
It has been 6 days and 23 hours, sir.
There you go. Well, let's see here. We have gold approaching $1,000 an ounce. It had a pretty hectic day today. It was interesting. Yesterday, today gold was up 15.40 at 981.50 in the June month, and that's up from 968.30 yesterday and 982.70 the day before. So it's kind of like a little circus here, going up and down. But gold's going higher, silver's going higher. Silver had a big day. It was up today 56 cents, and yesterday it was down 62. And so what happened yesterday is the United States government, through the Working Group on Financial Markets, which is essentially a secret organization, they don't want to tell the public about it, and with that organization, which is the Treasury and the Federal Reserve, they go in the markets and they manipulate them. And they manipulated the commodities and gold and silver yesterday, and they knocked down all of the currencies versus the dollar. In fact, today the dollar index was up 1.40, and yesterday, it was down 1.40 today, but yesterday it was up 1 point. And so you can see the manipulation going on and how they do it. And I'm trying to bring this to the attention of the American public, along with the fact that we don't need the Federal Reserve, and Ron Paul's H.R. 1207, the Federal Reserve Transparency Act, should be passed, and you people out there should contact every person in the House of Representatives and tell them that you want this out of committee and that you want it on the floor and you want it passed. And it has 179 sponsors, which is fantastic, because they only need 212 votes to pass it in the House. So keep that in mind. Anyway, it's not fair to the American people or anybody else that our government and the privately owned Federal Reserve is rigging the markets. It's terrible. And it goes on every single day, and it's got to stop. And it's the Fed and the Treasury who are behind it, but the Fed is the moving force. Now, this week, the Treasury Department has to raise $1.3 trillion. Excuse me, that's incorrect. They have to raise $103 billion in 1 week. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because if they can't place those bonds, they call it paper, then they're going to have to go to the Federal Reserve again and ask them to buy some of them, because there's not enough tax money coming in to cover the deficit. And that deficit this year is going to be between $2 and $2.5 trillion, if you can believe that. And last year it was $368 billion. And I think the worst it's been in the last 8 or so years was about $560 or $70 billion. And so this is monumental. So the Treasury's got to go out and get money. And they sell bonds. And if they don't sell all those bonds, they have to go to the Fed. And the Fed gives them the money and takes the bonds. The problem is the Fed doesn't have any money. They make it up out of thin air. And it's very inflationary. And that's not the only thing that the Fed is buying in the market. Besides treasuries, they're buying agency bonds. Those are Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Sallie Mae, Federal Home Loan, and they're buying those bonds, $800 billion worth. They're buying $1.5 trillion worth of collateralized debt obligations from banks. Now, all this money that the Fed is spending is made up out of thin air. That money that goes to the banks in exchange for those bonds, which are not worth the paper they're written on, the banks take the money and they go and buy treasuries from the Fed and keep them on their balance sheet. And so the whole thing is like a daisy chain, and the American public's going to get to pay for it all. It's dreadful what's going on. We spent 2 years in recession. In February, we entered depression, and it's not going to go away for a long, long time.
Personally, what do you feel about Merkel over there coming out and making comments about the Bank of England and the Federal Reserve, blasting both of them for just printing money arbitrarily and posting it through bank ledgers, i.e., credit card, etc., whatever the U.S. government has. And she comes out and says that the United States and Great Britain are planning to pump in $125 billion in the United Kingdom, and the United States is planning on printing $1.2 trillion, and this is going to do nothing except hurt the economies of the world. What's your philosophy on that, Mr. Chapman?
She's right. And I think she's under such pressure from the Bundesbank, which is the treasury for Germany. Thank you. And the German public. I mean, they're sick and tired of this. They don't want to hear about this anymore. And so I think what's going to happen, there's additional pressure coming on the United States to stop doing that. But the problem is, and obviously Europe is, particularly Germany, is willing to face this. If they stop printing money and issuing credit, which they're doing 18% a month on an annualized basis, which is horrendous. If they keep on doing that, they're trying to extend the timeline when they have to face the music. What Merkel is saying is, stop it, let's face the music now. Now the music is, if they stop doing that, we're going to go into a deep deflationary depression. But we're going to go there anyway. And it's going to be worse the longer they wait and create all that money and credit. So Merkel's saying, stop it. We've had enough.